Welcome to Redbeard and the Den of Tools. Howdy ho, guys and gals, it's Red, your friendly neighborhood tool bear, back again here in the Den of Tools. And today we're here to talk about a subject that's been asked for time and time again, and that is, just how exactly do I look at these different tools at Harbor Freight? Where do they rank? How do they compare to each other? Just basically, what we need is a buyer's guide is what people are telling the bear. So here we are. Here is your Harbor Freight Power Tool Buyer Guide as of July 2019. So let's jump into it. And here we go. Back to the good old bad days, if you will, of Harbor Freight. Yeah, there was a time when Harbor Freight was looked as that store that you went to buy a tool that you just needed for a project. You just need something cheap to get the project done. And if it lasted through the project, awesome. That's what you hope for. And if it lasted past that and you got 2 or 3 projects out of it, ooh, bonus round, right? Well, you know what? Times be a-changing. Harbor Freight realized they were missing out. They get a lot of the professional and higher-end customers coming in, buying a lot of the consumables, the smaller items, but they weren't buying any of the bigger items, or they at least were missing out on a chance to sell them some higher ticket items. So Harbor Freight, they went back, they scratched their heads, they thought about it, and they came out with a new 3-tier plan, and that is the good, better, best plan, or as I like to call it, the Goldilocks plan. And, we saw these, remember, these are the old Nikon drill masters and stuff, and what they've done is they've kind of approached the same way that you see the people over at TTI. Those are the guys that make Ryobi, Rigid, and Milwaukee. You got Stanley Black & Decker with the Black & Decker, the Porter Cable, and the DeWalt's. And a lot of people, a lot of companies do this whole good, better, best kind of thing, and try to find each person's Goldilocks zone to sell them the tool. They don't want to miss out on an opportunity to sell you a tool, regardless of where you fall in the buyer spectrum. Anyway, as I was saying, Drill Master used to be the end-all be-all at Harbor Freight, but now it is quickly becoming, or at least getting replaced in most cases, by the Warrior brand. Now, it's a slight step up. They definitely have converted from the NiCad over to the lithium-ion, and that's definitely a good thing. Lithium-ion batteries are definitely the way to go. Anyway, the Warrior ones, I've got my paws on it. It's a decent little tool. It's about in the same realm as, say, your Black & Decker. This is your solid consumer grade tool. Like, you're not really like a hardcore handyman, but you got to do stuff around the house. You do basic kind of stuff, and you need to have something to take care of these jobs with. And that's the tool you're going to go with. But then, they had to break into new ground. And that new ground is Bauer. Now, this kind of tool is called in the industry a prosumer tool. What that means is it's better than your average consumer tool, but not quite up to the specs you'd see with a pro tool. Hence the prosumer grade. And I gotta say, I've got a bunch of the Bauer tools. I really like them. They're pretty awesome. But, they do lack some of the finesse and stuff you see in some of the pro grade tools. Now, the Bauer, as I said, this is going to compete with something along the lines of like your Ryobis or your Porter Cables or something like that. And it's the kind of tool that you might see on a job site, or you might see, your average DIYer who takes himself a little more seriously and needs a higher graded tool. Now, the step up from there is into the Hercules brand. The Hercules is definitely aimed solidly at the very ultra high-end pro or consumer or DIYer, and solidly at the professional grade market. They're positioning this directly against the likes of DeWalt and Milwaukee, Makita, Hitachi, all the stuff you'll see on a job site. Now, to be fair, right now they only have the brushed tools out. I've heard tales of brushless tools coming out within, say, the next year or so. I know there's already a brushed one out brushless out in the Earthquake line, which we'll talk about in a minute. But these tools, even though they're brushed, to me that just says that they're reliable, because a brush tool is something that's user serviceable. They can take a beating. You shake them out, you blow them out, and they keep going. When a brushless tool goes down, it goes down pretty hard. So, that's definitely where they're targeting, as I said, in the professional market. Now, I mentioned Earthquake there. Now, Earthquake is kind of the odd man out. It's definitely aimed at the hardcore professional market. You might see some prosumers with it because, some of us like to use the tools the pros use, and but this is definitely in the automotive only segment. Now, I guess you could use it for other things, but that's what it's positioned for. That's what they're looking at. They're trying to go after the guys, turning wrenches every single day, and they're going square head to head with the likes of the Milwaukee and the Snap-on tools. They're trying to get in there, and you know what? To be honest, they're doing a darn fine job of it. I see more and more shops switching over, going away from the likes of Snap-on and going to Milwaukee and the Earthquake tools. And time and time again, they've shown that they can hold their own at a significantly reduced price. Just to let you know, that Snap-on there costs around $700 to $800 depending on the battery. The Harbor Freight's around the upper mid 200s. So significant difference there. Now, Bauer also does have a 1/2-inch impact, and they came out recently with a 3/8, which is nice. But then again, this is going back to that prosumer level, where they're trying to target the home DIYer. And I've got one of these. I think, honestly, it's great. It does everything I've asked it to do. To be honest, though, it's not like I'm changing semi-tires or anything else like that. I've got a 1/2-ton pickup truck. I've got a Jeep, and we've got a trailer and some other stuff, and it handles all that kind of stuff just fine. Now, that said, I know a lot of people are going to be asking, like, hey, what about Hercules? Is Hercules going to have one of these? I don't know. I haven't heard. You got to guess that there's going to be something in there at some point, but we haven't seen it as of yet. I haven't heard news about it. But this is what we got for now, and it's pretty decent. Now, I want to talk about batteries, because if we're talking about cordless, we got to talk about batteries. And with the Warrior, you don't have much of an option. You got this 1.3 amp hour lithium-ion battery with charger. And as you can see, it's a pretty basic kind of your wall wart kind of charger. It plugs directly into the battery. There's no base station or anything else like that. It's not a smart charger by any means. But again, for what you're using it for, it'll work just fine. Now, one of these will run you about $20. Unfortunately, you don't have the option. Hope everyone's okay in there. Hopefully, unfortunately, you don't have the option to buy it without the charger. Right now, the only option I see is to buy the battery with the charger for around $20. Now we jump over to Bauer. Now, this is the 1.5 amp hour battery from Bauer. This will run you about $20. It's a nice, solid, basic battery. If you want to jump up to their bigger battery, this is the 3 amp hour battery from Bauer, and this will run you about $40. Again, it's a great battery system. Now, we've heard tales, or at least hints, that there will be larger batteries coming out. Many of the tools, the larger tools that they have coming out now, say use with a 3 amp hour or larger battery. Hence, you got to think there's a larger battery coming out. And here's the charger, and this is a nice basic smart charger for $20, which means that you can pick up, a charger and a battery there for $40 base, $60 if you want to get the bigger one. Not too bad, considering that many tool companies will charge you $60 just for the charger. Now, going forward, we got to talk about Hercules. Now, here's the thing. With the battery platforms, if you're buying a less expensive tool, they're not going to really subsidize the price on the battery, because they got to make up that cost somewhere, right? So with the Warrior and the Bauer, you're paying a fair amount, but a little bit more than you're going to pay for the Hercules. With the Hercules, they know you're investing in the tool, and they're giving you a sweetheart of a deal on these batteries. They really are. All these batteries, and I think I speak also for the Bauer stuff. They all use pretty high grade cells, but they don't skimp out in any way, shape, or form with the Hercules batteries. These are some of the best batteries you can buy. Top of the line Samsung cells in all of them. And this battery, a 2 amp hour battery, sells for $20. That not bad for a battery like that. But let's talk about their 5 amp hour battery. This sells for $40 and goes on sale for even cheaper at times. This is a tremendous deal on a battery of this size and this caliber. And the charger itself is, I think it's another $30. I could be wrong, but it's a fast charger. All right. That means you're gonna put as much juice as you can into it. It's a smart charger. It's not going to charge the battery when it's too hot. It's going to let it cool down, and then it's going to start charging it. And I got to tell you, these chargers are fantastic and a lot better quality than a lot of the other stuff that they're put up against. Now, the Harbor Freight has an interesting twist. You don't see a lot of combo kits like you do with the other tools. The closest you're going to come is when you buy one of the base tools, being the impact or the drill driver or the hammer drill, and you're going to get the tool plus the battery plus the charger and a bag or a blow molded case in the case of the Hercules stuff. Now, this is, some may like this, some may not like it. Honestly, if you've been around the channel, the Bear's not a big fan of kits. I don't want people shoving a bunch of tools at me that I don't need. Often they fill them up with a lot of fluff, and you'll see, like was it a flashlight or two thrown in there, which is nice to have and all. But if I want it, I'd rather buy it separately. I don't want a 7-piece kit that's really a 5-piece kit because they've added some fluff in there. So with Harbor Freight, they offer the Bauers in this kind of kit form for the base tools. The same with the Hercules, but all the extra tools, like say this right angle drill here, they all come as a tool only. So no battery, no charger. Basically, what that allows you to do is build your own kits. You can buy the batteries you need. You can buy the base kits as you need. The chargers are stupid cheap. The batteries are pretty cheap, to be honest. And then this way you can build the kit that you're going to need. You're not going to end up with, say a multi-tool that you're never going to use or a jigsaw that you're never going to use because they stuffed a kit with stuff and you kind of were forced to buy it. So there's different ways of looking at it. Some people say, hey, I want the kit. People like me, other, tool bears out there may not want to go that route. Now, the one thing that we also have to talk about is the odd man out here is the 12-volt line. So they've had a 12-volt line here at Harbor Freight, a cordless one, in the Chicago Electric. And they've got one now in the Hercules brand where they've got, I think they've got 3 tools currently. They have the drill driver, the impact, and an electric screwdriver, which honestly I like quite a bit. Now, when you buy these, they do come as the kits there where it comes with the tool, the battery, the charger, and the bag. They're great little bags, by the way. And one of the things that you need to notice is, whereas this charger will only charge the 12 volt, the charger here, I don't know if you can see it there on the regular Hercules, this is the standard Hercules 20 volt charger, also charges the 12 volt batteries as well. They kind of leaked that out there when that came out. No one really talked about it, but it did say on there 20 or 12 volt charging. So if you do go with the 12 volt line, you'll pretty much end up with some extra chargers because if you already have a setup in the shop, you can just keep using your regular Hercules 12 volt or 20 volt chargers. So where does that lead us going into the future? Well, these were some pictures that I got sent to me that was leaked back in, back November last year. And as you can see here, this was from Harbor Freight's internal trade show for themselves, as it were. And you can see how expansive the Bauer line is. I often associate the Bauer line to like the Ryobi line, where you have a ton of tools and a lot of homeowner accessory style tools. You get weed whackers and blowers and all the other stuff for not just in the shop, but around the house and in the backyard and whatnot. And we see a lot of that represented here. Now for Hercules, it's a much smaller but still expansive line. I see this as being something more along the lines of, the Milwaukee or DeWalt compared to the Ryobi. This is by no means the total extent. This is just what they had in the channel getting ready to launch as of last November. So there's quite a bit here, and we know that there's going to be even more to come. We got stuff here we know we haven't even seen hints at. We got a couple blowers, a couple vacuums, all sorts of work lights and other tools. And I for one am truly excited to see when these start hitting store shelves. I recently tested the circ saw and the cordless circ saw and the cordless recip saw. They were both fantastic. We got more videos on those coming up, so be sure to check them out. Anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of where Harbor Freight is with their good, better, best strategy. Remember, Drill Master is becoming Warrior in most cases. In some cases, it was a higher quality tool, or the Chicago Electric also, I should say, was in there as well. And they were migrated into, say, the Bauer line. Usually we're talking in like the corded kind of tools. You'll see the Bauer, like the planer, the jackhammers, the SDS tools, stuff like that. But so as I said, Drill Master, the lower in Chicago Electric, becoming Warrior. The higher in Chicago Electric, becoming Bauer. We're still seeing Chicago Electric on the shelves. Don't know if that's ever going to go away completely, but Bauer is definitely coming in at the middle of the zone there, the prosumer, where basically it's like you want something better than just a basic average kind of stuff. And then at the professional level, you've got Hercules and Earthquake. Earthquake taking on the automotive side, and Hercules being your general contractor kind of tools. Anyway, if you got any other questions about them, if there's anything that's not clear there, post your questions down below there. You know what? And if this video was helpful for you, helped you understand what Harbor Freight is doing, what these tools are meant for, and where you kind of fall within that, you know, why don't you consider giving the old chomp there on the old like button? It's right down there. Just give it a good chomp there. Maybe even consider subscribing and ringing the bell. Help support the channel by letting other people know. Always like it when you can share a video. Anyway, that's all the bear has for you. Got to run. It's the older bear's birthday. So big shout out. Happy birthday, Duncan Bear. Love you much. Daddy Bear thinks that you're awesome. Anyway, you all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.